Okay, so we just covered how to send inbox messages to myself, Heather, how to get in contact with me, and how to write each other stuff. So where will you see assignments? There are assignments in this class. There are even assessments, but they are very much optional and very much designed as an aid to learning and not judgmentally sort of thing. So I think people will find that useful. So where you can find the assignments, under each unit are the weekly pages. And the weekly pages will have little comments and things in context, extra resources, like we will cover Google Earth. There's a timeline, some videos, things like that. And it will also have the homework assignment. And again, it will be in the context where, the resources you're going to need for that homework will be listed right there. What Heather and I will do before next week begins is for each unit, and this was, again, another parent suggestion, so parents, please keep those suggestions coming. It can be hard, it feels like you're being critical, but we need those suggestions. There will be a list of all the supplies you'll need for the next 3 or 4 weeks, because it's hard to make a run to the hardware store every week for science homework. But the supplies are commonly available. I have had some students who were overseas, or one student who was snowed in Alaska, and the post office could get there, but he definitely couldn't get to the store to get, so we mailed some supplies. Okay, so that is one way to find the homework. The other way to find the homework is to go to activities, and it is under assignments. Okay, so don't start any of these homeworks yet, but we have a lot of the homeworks listed. We're just going to re-edit them, and don't get worried either. This is a full year. This isn't one semester. So we'll go back and we'll edit those, and they'll be resubmitted. When we do and we change the date, those homeworks assignments will also show up on our calendar. That is the third way to find any homework that are due. Homework will show up on the calendar. By the end of today, I will also have links to our class on Electa. So once your student has logged in once to Electa, they're concerned about, am I in classroom 1, am I in classroom 2, and they're a little bit worried about that. All they'll have to do is go to the calendar, and they'll be able to click on the class link, and it'll just open up Electa for them, and they'll be in the right place. What's also going to show up after I hit Electa today is going to be office hours, which will be on Friday for about 90 minutes. Office hours are for homework first, but if there aren't any homework questions or help needed, questions from class that need to be answered, then we just talk about everything. Last year we had a lot of stuff on linguistics, novel writing, science fiction, and quantum mechanics, just any interests that are in the students, and there are other students on that call. If your student needs one-on-one, I have a lot of one-on-one slots open, and the best way to do that is, again, send an inbox message to myself and Heather, and she will schedule one. Try to give us about 24 hours notice, but it's not impossible to get a one-on-one in less than 24 hours. I just might schedule something that isn't on my calendar in less than 24 hours. So try to give us 24 hours notice to get a one-on-one. Skype is usually best for that, because then the students, we don't have to worry about setting up the classroom time. Okay, so that's how to find your homework. Let me see what I've covered. Electa Haiku. Assignments. Yes, there are assignments and there are grades, but our grades are basically 10 points is kind of the check mark. If you submit a homework and you've done a good try and you've explained you've either gotten it done or explained why you had trouble getting it done, we're going to give you the 10-point credit, and then after that, your feedback is really in the detailed comments you're getting back from Mrs. Johnson or myself. If you need a different grading setup for your situation, let us know. We can maybe try to add something in that. There's going to be two tracks of homework. There's going to be big ideas. Big ideas will be a once weekly assignment, and there's also going to be daily science, which are smaller assignments that will give the student about 5 days worth of science time to do. If you're just doing the big ideas, that is totally fine. Please don't feel overwhelmed by having to do all the daily science. There is an enrichment and an added benefit for different ways of taking this class. All right, we covered the haiku inbox. Oh, spamming the chat is a thing that many students have not heard about. Spamming the chat is when students type random stuff in the chat. You know, they just are bored or needing stimulation or other things. And many on the call, including your teacher, will be 2Es, and this might be distracting. So try to keep text remarks in the chat to be pertinent. They can be funny, they can be humorous, they don't have to be serious, but just related to the class and not just filled with a lot of stuff like that. Some students really need the class to go quiet in order to feel like they can talk, and so if your student is somebody who offers a lot of answers, I myself have an inner Hermione and would definitely raise my hand every time and do exactly what Hermione did with just absolutely wanting to answer the question every time. But have them think about a 3-question or comment budget, and then after that, if they know the answer but they want to give space for someone else to answer, they can send a little text thing that says, I know it, but they can just put a thing in the text that says, I might know the answer or something like that, and then I'll call upon them if nobody else fills that time. But we just want to make it accessible to students who might be a little bit shy and need that prompting to engage. I do like students to talk on the system, but we need them to mute their microphones when they're not actually talking because of the feedback situation that we get into. And also, please make sure that your student has headphones. They don't need an expensive headset, especially if you're using the microphone on your laptop, but some earbuds or something will prevent there being some feedback. And I find that students, once they've had a negative experience with that feedback and it just got kind of troublesome to ask a question, it's really hard to get them back and engaged and interested in speaking on the class, which we love, to hear. Okay, there is another resource that I want to bring to your attention, and that is Google Earth. So Google Earth is downloadable. You can download it and install it on your system. I've tried to show it on my system when we're in class, and it just doesn't work. It really lags the system out. But Google Earth now has a web-based version of it. So you can launch the Google Earth, or if you go to older versions, you can download and install it on your system. And if you have any issues with that, like you need a code or whatever, I have all the codes. And then I have an example file that you can check out, and that's the Great Ziggurat of Ur, and they can zoom around it and really visit it. I have a lot of these for the semester, so we can really walk in the feet. There are a lot of Greek ruins and things. We can see the schoolhouse where Aristotle actually taught Alexander the Great, and we can go visit that and various things. So if you can try to get this working, it'll really add some enrichment for your student. Okay, I think that's all we need. Again, Heather and I will be following up. Any student we have 2 sessions for this class. Students, until we have an issue, any student can take either. And if we find one that's way too full, we'll ask people to go back to the ones they were signed up for. But yes, please feel free to come to either of them. They'll both be basically the same lecture each time. And yeah, that's it. Okay, thanks. I'll see you guys soon.